So, yes, boutique projects, especially the ones in prime locations, do carry very, very good investment returns.
Of course.
In some cases, much higher than what you would expect to get as a return from these all singing, all dancing, large scale mass developments, compounds with sales offices and with a lot of marketing tools at their disposal. Hello there, welcome to yet another episode of Straight Talk at our Istanbul, stop smiling, at our Istanbul, well you can smile, but not in a smirky way, at our Istanbul offices with Alaattin Kılıç, the CEO of Property Turkey, CEO being Chief Entertainment Officer of Property Turkey.
That's
there you go, Alaattin. Over to you.
The CEO. Well, thank you, Cameron.
Not a bad opening, was it?
That was a great opening, my friend. So I guess you have some questions to ask me today. Have you?
I do have some questions.
Have your
to ask
American
you.
accent going a little bit. And
I can't do an American accent.
Try. You opened up. So we
I really can't.
roles.
I'm not talented in that. In these types of things, mate. I can't do an American accent.
Shall I?
But you can.
With
You are the font of all talent, so you can pick
Okay.
a decent British accent here.
All right. I am pretty ready for this amazing episode in this beautiful Istanbul day. So fire.
All right then. So today we're going to be giving some hints, some tips as to the best segments to invest in Istanbul real estate. Segments as in any way you cut it, really. But let's see what Alaattin would say. But can you please, first of all, give an executive summary, so to speak, and then we can dive into the details of each and every segment.
Right. Well,
yes.
Let me tell you this, Cameron. After being many years operating in this amazing and beautiful industry that is called Turkish real estate industry, I have been around the block and accumulated some information.
I certainly don't talk like that.
And yeah, I'm just trying my best. Okay, don't rapture me. I'm just trying my best. So I'd say our clients to look out for definitely boutique projects. That's number one. Projects that the developers of who they don't know how to market a project. Another category would be urban regeneration. I suck at this shit.
Urban regeneration.
Yeah. Urban regeneration. That's definitely another topic, and some of resale options. Really, people who have previously purchased properties for 5, 6, 7 years ago, and now they're willing to sell. They have made a decent enough profit for themselves, and now they're willing to sell their properties. Would you believe below market rate? Because they have made sufficient gains on the property. They just want their property to be sold ASAP and move on to the next investment. So
can I rudely interrupt and cut in as Alaattin Kılıç,
my young friend,
very often does to me.
Right.
And so you're on the receiving end now. These rude interruptions.
Please.
So what we're saying is that statistically speaking, foreign nationals investing in Istanbul in particular. If we look at our own sales in 2021, I'd say no less than 60% were people purchasing larger scale development projects.
Projects with 1,000, 1,500 units in them, 500
units, 600 units, like large scale, generally kind of luxury residential style developments, what we call projects.
Right.
That's usually what foreign nationals buy. And the reason that foreign nationals tend to gravitate toward these larger scale residential developments is, one, they're easy to find because they are masters at marketing and they do employ the services of agents and sales offices who push the promotional activities globally out. So I call these larger projects kind of sitting ducks, really.
Right.
Anyone can reach them. Any agent can find them. They're there. That is not to say they're bad investments, but all I'm saying is accessibility, very easy. So, but do we have an alternative? If you're a foreign investor coming into Istanbul with a view to maximizing your rate of return in your real estate investment, are there any opportunities? Are there alternatives to these larger scale residential projects which could in fact remunerate you more handsomely than such larger scale residential projects? And we at Property Turkey certainly believe that there are. And Alaattin, my learned friend here,
Right.
is my young learned friend here.
Right.
He younger than me. He would like me to stress.
Just a few years.
Just a few years. He suggests that there are 3 other alternatives that investors should be looking at. One, urban regeneration areas,
Right.
projects being developed in urban regeneration areas, and such projects could vary in size from rather small, 10, 20 units in one, to larger ones, 200, 200, and multiples of hundreds. Urban regeneration. 2, resale properties. And 3, smaller, more boutique projects rather than larger scale, all singing, all dancing residential projects, smaller projects. So now let us dive into these 3 categories and try to explain why we feel that they make a lot of investment sense. And in most cases, not necessarily in all cases, but in most cases, in our experience, they will reward the investor a great deal better than the larger scale residential projects that are widely marketed internationally. Over to you, Ala.
I think it's, well, first of all, as a foreigner, when you're coming into a completely different market, you want to have a risk-averse approach. And within this risk-averse approach, certainly you wouldn't want to dive deep within a street of a district that is not really well known to foreigners and go in there and find a building that's under construction with only 30 units with the developer name of Ahmet something.
You don't
right?
even know the developer.
Exactly.
No one has heard of him.
Exactly.
In fact, very good point.
But if you
Very
see
good
the
point.
name of, say, Rotana, Hilton, Damak,
What
Emar,
Alaattin is saying is that these larger projects, which are generally built by larger scale, better known developers, have a much lower perceived risk
Correct.
than the small boutique developers that are developed and built by developers that frankly no one has heard of. Yet we are saying
Right.
that in that category of boutique smaller developments, or 20 units, 30 units, 40 units in one place, there are real gems that will reward investors a great deal higher than those better known larger scale compounds. And the reasons, this is what I want to get to, Alaattin, the reasons. And in fact, from what you just said, I picked a few reasons already. Like when you walk into these larger scale compounds, they have sales offices. These sales offices are very nicely decorated at sometimes rather high costs. There's the smell of coffee, the aroma of coffee, and there are salespeople and consultants that are more than happy to oblige and answer all your queries to the best of their knowledge. There's a demonstration there, and basically there are a lot of things that meet the eye and kind of satisfy the eye and gives you that assurance. Whereas in the boutique projects built by Mr. Ahmet or Mr. Hassan, you'd be lucky to find a consultant that would address any of your questions, never mind the sales office. Yet, does that mean that's a bad investment? Actually, we're saying quite the contrary. Because these boutique projects that do not really know how to market themselves, because realistically, their market is the Turkish local market, today, in 2022, are suffering. Why are they suffering? Well, guess what? High interest, high inflation in Turkey, as we all know, after the devaluation of the currency, resulted in a very, very slow domestic market.
Right.
When the domestic market is slow, these boutique projects are the first to suffer because they haven't got the marketing channels and avenues, neither the expertise and knowledge to go out internationally and market their properties to international buyers. So they suffer. Now, you're an overseas buyer. You are a foreign investor. Are you putting the two and two together? His loss is your opportunity to come in and carve yourself a pretty decent deal and invest wisely at below what I would term market rates. So, yes, boutique projects, especially the ones in prime locations, do carry very, very good investment returns.
Of course.
In some cases, much higher than what you would expect to get as a return from these all singing, all dancing, large scale mass developments, compounds with sales offices and with a lot of marketing tools at their disposals. Right?
I would 100% agree.
So the boutique projects, look out for the boutique projects. Now, the difficulty of finding decent boutique developments, buildings that will give you the return as a foreign investor is that most of the agents that you will contact and you will work with, they wouldn't have such stock. Because finding such stock, as we know from first-hand experience, finding such stock that is credible, low or no risk in terms of delivery, and good quality, finding such stock is very, very difficult in Istanbul.
Of course.
You need a massive team. You need legs on the ground, looking, searching, as Alaattin's favorite terminology says, leaving no stone unturned in order to find such viable small developments that are indeed worth investing in for good returns. So that means that a great majority of agents will not have such stock. What they will have is the larger compounds, which are very accessible.
And as you always say, what they will have is what is marketed to them.
And what they will have is what is marketed to them. So boutique developments, look out for them. If you find good ones, they are very good investments.
Very, very
Second
nice.
category you mentioned.
Second category is urban regeneration as a whole.
My favorite.
Yes.
My favorite.
Would I say a few words, and would you like to?
Well, I would like to reiterate what I always say about urban regeneration projects. Invest in the ugly ducklings of today for the swans of tomorrow. So the way to assess the viability of an urban regeneration area and hence developments within that area is to look at what the future of that area holds. But not the future is in 20, 30 years later. In today's world, 20, 30 years is far too many years to wait for, in my opinion.
Of course.
So let's look at what will happen to that area over the next 5 years. And if you know the city enough, and if you know the way Istanbul moves sideways, forwards, upwards, and the way things change in Istanbul and how quickly they can change in Istanbul, if you have a good insight to that, then you're at a far better position to evaluate whether, let's say, Kağıthane is a better urban regeneration area, or is Eyüp a better urban regeneration area? There is urban regeneration going on in some parts of Fatih. Is that a better proposition? There is urban regeneration going on in Kartal. Is that a better proposition? Well, it all depends on, really, how quickly the face of that area will change. And that depends on many, many factors. But the main two factors that determine how quickly the ugly duckling will turn into the beautiful swan, the two main factors are, one, the regeneration rules and regulations applicable in that particular municipality. How quickly you can get in digging and raise a building, and how quickly you can cut out the title deeds and start selling. And number 2, who the stakeholders are within the urban regeneration. In other words, if you as a builder, as a developer, are trying to regenerate a particular street or part of a street, but in doing so, if you have to negotiate with hundreds and hundreds of incumbent stakeholders, in other words, existing property owners, then that's a sign that it's going to be a long drawn process, because the more people you have to deal with, the more issues you're going to be encountering along the way, which means that the longer it will take to regenerate the area. Whereas there are areas where the stakeholders that you're negotiating with to free up the land or to free up and knock down existing buildings to rebuild, the stakeholders are not so many. There are fewer people or fewer organizations. Better still, companies like industrial warehouses, etc.
Oh, I'm going to tell you a story
that you're dealing with, like we have seen in Bomonti some years back. Now, you do a contract, you agree to get one such company out, and with one contract, one swift agreement,
20,000 square meters of land,
you're freeing up 20,000 square meters of land. Whereas in some other parts of Istanbul, to free up 20,000 square meters of land, you need to engage in negotiations that could last 5-6 years just to negotiate to free up the land.
Yeah.
So these are the factors that determine how quickly the ugly duckling will become a beautiful swan.
I'm going to tell you a story.
But before you rudely interrupt again, I'm kidding.
Rudely interrupt you, Cameron.
Before you say that, now, it's our job to know which areas are what. It's our job to know which areas are easy to regenerate and which areas are not so easy to regenerate. Hence, we are here at a viable position to be able to advise you, look, this is a strong regeneration zone. If you get in here at this point in time, you're likely to see significant gains over the next 5 years, but this particular regeneration zone will take a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
So we can give that advice to you. So urban regeneration zones, where you can access price points well below neighboring districts, they are definitely, provided there'll be a swift change, they are definitely very, very good investments.
100%.
Right? Anything to add to that?
100% agree. Well, let me tell you a story that happened.
Go on.
You know this new project that we took on board, La Mer Dragos,
Yes.
in Kartal. It's in an urban regeneration area, yet it's not a residential urban regeneration area. It's a commercial area, historically commercial area, that is becoming now a residential area, and all the factories are moving out. There's a small creek there. Okay, along the creek there are factories, old, ugly-looking factories. And with one of my clients, we went to La Mer Dragos and we were looking at the project model. And he said, Alaattin, okay, that there are. He wanted to buy a studio apartment, and multiple, in fact. He said, Alaattin, okay, there are so many studio apartments here, over 200, and they look all different angles. Shall I buy with the CV? Which one shall I buy? I said, I want you to buy the first floor, looking at that ugly factory right across, that will have right now no view.
The worst view you can
the
possibly
worst
think
view
of.
you can possibly think of.
However, you're buying it at the lowest possible price.
Lowest possible price.
I know exactly why you said that.
Exactly.
Because you know for a fact that, 3 years from today, that ugly building isn't going to be there.
Of course.
And there's going to be probably some nicely landscaped residential
Right.
home, or maybe a park, but definitely a much better view.
Right.
Which means that 3 years time, the premium he will experience on that property, which he bought at a very decent price, is going to be quite significant. And actually, in fact, what Alaattin just explained hits the nail on the head, as far as urban regeneration and the investment potential of urban regeneration areas are concerned. Thank you. That's exactly
It is
why
what it is.
it's the opportunity.
It is what it is.
So,
100%.
do not be discouraged by the ugly ducklings of today.
Yeah.
In fact, go looking for them. Go looking for them. Because they're the areas that in a dynamic city as Istanbul is going to deliver you some of the highest real estate returns you can possibly imagine.
Right, which is hardest type of stock for a real estate agency to reach out to and bring it on board.
Well,
It's not easy.
It is hard, and also it's very hard to sell, because no matter what you do, when you take the client there, he is looking at an ugly building in front of you.
Yeah.
And when he looks around and looks at the neighborhood,
Ugly. Yeah. And
But
the guy's
hopefully-
like, what am I doing?
but hopefully with plenty of signs on those ugly buildings,
Yeah.
with dates as to when they're going to be regenerated. Now, guys, that is the sign you're looking for.
Right.
That is the sign you're looking for. Okay, so urban regeneration, one of my favorite investment segments in Istanbul. Do not be scared of it.
That's what I was trying
Go
to
for
tell
it.
you. That's what I... How did I rudely interrupt you again?
You rudely interrupted me again.
I like it.
So we talked about boutique developments, urban regeneration.
Resale properties. Certainly, resale properties are properties that were purchased by individuals 7-8 years ago, and these individuals have already got good capital appreciation, and now they're willing to give their properties away for an amount of capital appreciation that's going to satisfy them, and often cases that could even be below the market value of the property. And this is where actually the biggest opportunity is when it comes to resale.
That's one of the hardest segments as far as agents like us are concerned, to find viable properties
I
in the
agree.
real estate
I
segment.
agree.
Because you're not dealing with a developer. Because a developer launches a project, 500 units, and you know that that project will be selling for the next 12 months.
Right.
So no problem there. You know the project, you can talk about it, you know the pros and cons of it, you know the sales talk, whatever. So you take your clients there, you recommend your clients there. But a real estate is one there, one there, one there, one there. And the thing is, it's there one day, gone the day after, particularly if it's a good price point.
Yeah.
So it's very, very difficult.
And if the owner is a nutcase, the guy says, I'm selling my property for 3 million Turkish liras today. Then you go there with the client, it's 3.5 now.
Exactly.
What do you do?
He wakes up.
What do you do?
Like he says, you give a guy a call. He says, 3 million Turkish lira. You say, all right, good deal, good price. You go there the day after, and then, all well. And then the guy turns around and says 3.5 million Turkish lira. Then you say to him, well, only last night you said it was 3 million.
Yeah.
He goes, I changed my mind.
Yeah, I called my cousin. And
I called my cousin and he just sold a similar property for 3.5, so I decided to sell it for 3.5. These are the things that we see when we experience every day.
Right.
Okay? And sometimes we are on the kind of sour end of it, let's say, when we're confronted with situations like that, and we find it difficult to explain to a client why it happened. Okay? But it happens, okay? Yet, what we're trying to say here is, in the resale market, particularly when a property was purchased over 5-6 years ago, say a property that was built 10 years ago and was sold 10 years ago, and today the guy who bought it 10 years ago is selling it. Now, there could be some real amazing opportunities there for foreign investors. Why? Well, one, because in the last 3 years, Istanbul market has seen a very, very sharp price increase. Land prices went up. There's less land available, as we covered in previous episodes. So prices, the end prices to market, have gone up significantly. But if the guy has purchased the property 10 years ago, those were the days when Istanbul real estate market was very affordable.
Right.
Very, very affordable. So he can still put on 10, 20%, maybe 30%, and still come way under the market rates, particularly if the guy needs to sell.
Yeah.
With the resale market, to catch a good opportunity, you're looking for people who need to sell, not want to sell, but need to sell, so that you're providing him an exit strategy. It's a win-win. Don't see it as, oh, you're capitalizing on somebody's misfortune. You might be, but it's a win-win because the guy needs to sell. If it's not you,
Maybe he wants
he
to
will
sell
sell
it,
to somebody else.
He wants to sell it fast to get another investment. You never know.
Could be many reasons, but if he needs to sell, go for it. If it's the right location, the right type of property, the chances are it's a very lean price. Go for it. Okay? Now, we're not sitting here and saying that, you know, the resale market is full of amazing opportunities. No,
Absolutely
no. Far
not.
from that. Far from that. There are a lot of greedy sellers who are trying to grab an arm and grab a leg there, you know, by luring people in with the promises of, you know, good discounts, and at the end of the day, you end up paying even more than a brand new property. Now, they are the bad potatoes.
To be honest with you,
you know,
this is straight talk. Let me say this.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I would say like 70% of the time, 80% of the time, it's much better and much easier to deal with a developer.
I agree with
and
you.
especially if
I agree
you're a
with
company at the size of Property Turkey, I could easily go to that developer and say, hey, look, I have 1,000 clients per year, and I sell 5,000 properties per year, and this is your market price, this is my price, give this discount to my clients, and we can get it. But on an individual level,
it's difficult to do that.
It's very difficult
because
to do that.
for the seller, for most sellers in the resale market, it's a one-off sale.
Yeah.
So you don't have a clout with them. So really, it's a nose that you need. You need a good nose to know who needs to sell in a good real estate area. And even then, you got the right price, you got the right property, the story isn't over. The guy underdeclares.
Yep.
You pay $200,000 as a foreign buyer, and you're thinking that, hey, I just paid $200,000 on this lovely resale apartment. Let me buy another small apartment for $100,000. I'm up to $300,000. I'll get my Turkish citizenship. Well, you got a surprise.
Yeah.
The $200,000 that you paid, the guy will only declare $80,000 on the title deed. And no matter what you do, you can't get him to declare more. He will only declare 80,000 because it goes by declaration. What do you do? Well, there isn't much you can do. But these types of scenarios and difficulties are what we face in the real estate, in the resale market. And there is yet another reason that majority of the agents operating in the foreign market, they shy away from resale because it's a lot of work, but generally with no results.
Right.
We don't shy away from it. In fact, for us, it's a priority to enlarge our resale portfolio because we truly believe that there are some amazing opportunities to be had there for our foreign clients. Yet, there are a lot of difficulties, and under declaration is only one of them. But there are some good news here that I'd like to announce. I'm not going to go into detail. It's a little premature. But we, as Property Turkey, are now coming up with a vehicle, let's use that word, to overcome the under-declaration. So pretty soon, hopefully, we'll be in a position to offer you properties that are under-declared in the resale market, where you are going to be able to show the full price for your citizenship application. I'm not going to go into detail how we're going to do this. We've been working on it for the past 1 year, and we are about to crack this. Now, we will announce it when we cracked it. Okay?
Property Turkey, innovators in the space.
Well, I think one has to be. So, boutique projects, urban regenerations, and resale properties. 3 segments of the residential and commercial real estate market, particularly in Istanbul, where you can grab some really good opportunities for investment. That said, is there a 4th category? No, I don't want to talk about a 4th category. I think these 3 are really, as far as particularly in residential, they are 3 of the categories where some true gems exist still.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it.
You want to do the closing?
Oh, yes. So, I can't remember how you close. Yes. Should you have any questions or any queries, you can see the WhatsApp number somewhere there or there or there. I don't know. There, somewhere there. He usually points to where it is. And please write in with all your queries and questions. We'll be more than happy to comments. Yes, your comments, please. We'll be more than happy to address them. In fact, that citizenship episode that you aired yesterday.
Yeah, it's flying.
Last night, I realized that there were some unanswered questions there. Can you please get in there and answer those questions?
Which ones? The FAQs?
Yeah, you know the questions people
In the
ask
comments?
at the bottom of the comments section.
We don't employ 35 people at the marketing department.
Yeah, but we have Alaattin.
It takes time. It takes time. It takes time to answer those questions. Of course, but I really, really appreciate my audience. I mean, guys, I love it.
Oh, no, they really engage and I love it.
Yes. Okay.
All right, mate. That's it.
Take good care.
Take good care. Bye-bye.
Bye.